Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment below if you're so motivated to do so. This is Wonders of a Black Woman. I I've got to respond to this particular story because parents, you really have to know what is influencing your children. And you need to make sure that they don't have access to things like firearms. So, this Florida teen was accused of fatally shooting his sister in an argument over Christmas gifts. Apparently, he was upset that he felt that his brother was getting more and better Christmas gifts than he was getting. So, he ended up shooting the sister, and then the other brother shot him, and it's crazy, the how people are so materialistic. So I just want to get into a little bit of this from NBC News. Wow. A 14-year-old Florida teen fatally shot his sister in an argument over Christmas gifts, only to be shot moments later by his own teenage brother. The argument started when the brothers, ages 14 and 15, were out shopping on Christmas Eve Sunday with their mother and sister and got into a spat over who was receiving more gifts. Wow. After shopping, the boys, their mother, and the 23-year-old sister, Abrielle Baldwin, and Baldwin's two young children, ages 11 months and 6, went to their grandmother's home in Largo, where the argument continued. That's when the 14-year-old brother stood in the doorway. He took out his 40 caliber semi-automatic handgun. He took out his gun and pointed it at his brother and told him he was going to shoot him in the head. Wow. This was the gun that was recovered at the scene. This is what this kid is running around with. He's going to settle an argument by pulling out a gun. That is so petty, immature, and it's unfortunate because it's not just a 14-year-old who would. I mean, it's ridiculous that a 14-year-old would think that way. But there are grown men who act like this too. They want to settle arguments with violence. The 14-year-old wanted to settle this argument by pulling out a gun. So the 14-year-old tried to get his 15-year-old brother to fight, and an uncle ended up separating them and moving the 14-year-old outside into the driveway area. First of all, they should have nipped this stuff in the bud. When he pulled that handgun out, they should have took that from him. It's not just about separating them. They should have made sure I mean, is it normal for these kids to have these firearms because in this household? I mean, what kind of family is this where they're pulling weapons out on each other over arguing over materialism on Christmas, in the Christmas season? You're supposed to be celebrating the birth of Jesus, but that's not what Christmas has become. Christmas has become this materialistic, oh, I've got to buy this, I've got to buy that, um it's just this materialistic. We've got to have this big dinner. We've got to buy all of these things and spend all this money. That's what Christmas is. That's what Christmas means to people. The fact that it's supposed to be celebrating the birth of Jesus, not that he was actually born on that day, but they're supposed to be celebrating God having a son and Jesus be coming into the world and all of this other stuff. That's just a side note. So as it says, the 14-year-old tried to get his 15-year-old brother to fight, and an uncle ended up separating them and moving the 14-year-old outside into the driveway area. That's where he found Abrielle carrying her 11-month-old baby in a carrier. She told him, "You all need to leave that stuff alone. Why are you trying to start it? It's Christmas." Here, this woman is carrying, uh, oh, they're out spending this money. Somebody's jealous that somebody's getting something else or feel like they're getting more than another one. Pulls a gun out, tries to fight. These are 14 and 15-year-olds. And then this woman comes up carrying her 11-month-old baby in the baby carrier. Told them, "You all need to leave that stuff alone. Why are you trying to start it? It's Christmas." So they're trying to calm them down and cool them down. They should have nipped that in the bud when they saw this boy pulled out a gun. But I don't know the dynamics of their family and how they normally are amongst each other. But I mean, they're not alarmed that this kid has a gun. The 14-year-old argued with her, called her derogatory terms, and shot her in the chest as she was holding her infant in the carrier. Wow. She and the baby fell. The baby was unharmed. No, the baby was harmed. It lost its mother. That's so sad. The 15-year-old brother then came outside, took out a 45 caliber semi-automatic handgun, exclaimed, "You shot my sister," and shot the 14-year-old one time in the stomach, the sheriff's office said. Wow. There was an 8-second gap between the time the 14-year-old shot Abrielle and before he himself was shot. At the time he was shot, he was no longer in possession of his gun. The 15-year-old then ran, threw his gun in a nearby yard, and fled to a relative's house in Clearwater. She was just a woman going about life, doing her thing with her two kids. Now you got an 11-month-old and a 6-year-old boy, and their mom's gone. The 14-year-old was had underwent surgery and was stable. He will be released from the hospital to the Department of Juvenile Justice. The 14-year-old was charged with first-degree murder, child abuse, and being a delinquent in possession of a firearm. They need to get down to the nitty-gritty of where they got these guns from. Police found the 15-year-old brother in Clearwater. He made self-harm statements and was taken to a mental health facility. He was charged with attempted first-degree murder and tampering with physical evidence. The 15-year-old shouldn't be charged with anything. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, I don't think that but I mean, they're black, so they're going to want to charge everybody, including, I'm surprised they're not charging the baby with something. You know how they do. I think the 15-year-old shot in defense because the 14-year-old shot the sister. It may not have ended there. The 14-year-old could have went on a spree and shot the baby, the uncle, the brother, and everything else. The 15-year-old, but of course they have to put the 15-year-old through this, having to defend himself in court for having to defend himself, um, from this brother, this Cain that decided to shoot him because he was jealous that he was getting uh Christmas gifts and he felt as though he was getting more than what he was getting. Their investigation and interviews with local people said the two teenage brother carried guns all the time. Wow. He said the brothers got their guns by stealing them from unlocked cars. They're out in the middle of the night doing car burglaries. Noting that both were arrested in connection with numerous car burglaries in Oldsmar in May. These young kids, 15, 14 years old, routinely carry firearms, and this is what happens when you got young delinquents that carry guns, immature. They get upset and they don't know how to handle stuff, so they just take out their guns and start shooting each other, and one of them kills his sister. The 14-year-old has arrest dating to when he was. So it's just a very dysfunctional family. It's the family's fault that these kids are like this, and unfortunately, um it's unfortunate that this fruit that bore a deadly consequences. It could have happened to someone that wasn't in the family. They ended up doing killing someone. But if the family knew and it was common knowledge that these 14-year-olds and 14 and 15-year-olds were, if this is true, that they were robbing, stealing, and routinely carrying firearms, something's wrong with the family. And it's unfortunate that this woman lost her life over something so petty and ridiculous. You have to know what is influencing your children, and you have to take control over what you influence your children with. And if you have a child that's out of control, get them some sort of help, because the help society is going to give them is either putting them 6 feet under or locking them up. Those are the two ways society will help do your job. They're either going to put them 6 feet under or they're going to lock your child up, because, you know, this is a tragedy. It's not just a random immature thing. These kids were running around like this with firearms, and no one stopped them. No one stepped in and did anything. And this tragedy ended up unfolding. So, Abrielle Baldwin, hopefully she rests in peace. Hopefully, those children, the 11-month-old and the 6-year-old, will find their way into a relative or a friend's home that will actually raise them with morals and decency and respect. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment below if you're so motivated to do so. This is Wonders of a Black Woman. Peace.